Next from Springfield, on Governor Rauner's first day in office, we attend a press conference in which he issues new rules regarding state employee ethics and vows to overturn several moves from previous Governor Pat Quinn, saying the former governor engaged in inappropriate political hiring and appointments. This runs about 20 minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Very exciting day, a lot on the agenda. A wonderful day yesterday. Felt very honored, very humbled. I thought the inauguration ceremony was terrific, very enjoyable and very emotional, very meaningful. It's wonderful to have so many people from around the state participate with us. The party last night was a blast. I really enjoyed dancing with our family and getting out in the crowd and saying hi to everybody. It was a great day of celebration. And now today we're getting down to work. Had breakfast with all the family this morning in the governor's residence. Actually, I got to say, the eggs and the bacon were outstanding. And we reviewed the rooms and laying out the plans so we can begin the renovation thought process. And looking forward very much to that. Went over to the Senate chambers this morning and did the run-through for the process for electing the new president of the Senate tomorrow morning. I look forward to organizing and presiding over that process. I did ask when we went through the script tomorrow, I saw for the first time that they were going to refer to me as His Excellency the Governor. And I specifically asked that they never refer to me in that way at any time while I serve as governor. You can call me anything but late for dinner, but I don't want to be called anything like that. And governor is perfectly fine and honorable enough. Had a very productive meeting with the legislative leaders, Speaker Madigan and President Cullerton, and Leader Durkin and Leader Radonio. We talked about our communication style, some of the initial bills that will be coming through the process and coming to my desk, laying out some initial game plan for our agenda over the next 60 days, especially focusing on the budget. I thought it was a very cordial, very positive meeting. I was very pleased. Look forward to having many close working communications like that in the days ahead. We have a big agenda, a lot to get done. And I thought it was a very, very productive start. And Diana and I look forward to going out to dinner tonight. We're going to get to know Springfield. We got to sample all the restaurants. I got to find the best places for certain of my favorite foods. So I look forward to any recommendations you all have, because many of you have been here a lot longer than I have. So cards and letters are welcome on recommendations, but we're going to go out to dinner tonight. So now to some important business. First, I want to thank Senator LaHood and Representative Scott Drury. They have been leaders on ethics reforms over in the General Assembly. And I will coordinate as governor with them so we can get into legislation key improvements in our ethics regulations and restrictions here in the state government. And I will ask them to address you in a few minutes with some thoughts that they will be pursuing in the coming days. They've been leaders on this issue for quite some time. As I said yesterday, business as usual has got to end here in the state government. For far too long, we've had insider deals and cronyism. That's ruled the day here. It's caused the people of our state to lose faith in government, and that has undermined people's willingness to help the government in its mission. And we need help from the people. We've got to have confidence, because we're going to be asking for sacrifice. And we need folks to have more confidence in our government than they have today. It's essential that we improve ethics and accountability. We need to regain our good name. So, starting today, state employees, while serving in the executive branch, will not be allowed to negotiate for employment or compensation with a lobbying entity or with a lobbyist, which they are unfortunately allowed to do today. No longer. We're not going to allow it anymore. Any former employee of my administration will not be allowed to lobby for 1 year after they leave government. That's good practice. Most states have that. The federal government has that, at least 1 year, and we should put in 1 year restriction immediately. The revolving door has got to end. Folks should serve in government for the people rather than for themselves. And also, I want to comment on this too. We actually decided to move the effective date of this to February 15th because many folks in the Quinn administration are interested in moving into lobbying firms, and there was going to be a flood of departures. Shows how powerful this is, and rather than be bereft of transition help, we decided to delay the implementation date. I will also say that we have let it be known that this was going to be our policy in our administration, and that has made it more challenging to recruit certain people into government because they say, wow, can't come in, work for a little while, and then go back out and make money based upon my relationships and my insider dealings. Shows how meaningful this is. This is a big deal. This has an impact on behavior and relationships, and we've got to begin to change that in the process. We are also restricting gifts, very strongly restricting gifts to state employees, their spouses, or immediately family members living with that employee. We are directing all of our agencies to fully cooperate with any questions, any requests from the Federal Hiring Monitor. We want the Federal Hiring Monitor's impact to be felt not only within IDOT, but also in every agency. We want that thought process and the issues to be dealt with throughout the government. And then lastly, we are taking steps to strengthen the economic interest statements and increase the disclosure within the economic interest statements. These are all steps that we can take starting today to get our state back on the right track and restore more confidence for the people of Illinois in our government. Thanks. Now I'll ask Senator LaHood and Representative Scott Drury to make a few comments.
Well, thank you, Governor Rauner, and I commend the governor for his action today on ethics. Both Representative Drury and I are prosecutors, have been strong advocates in the legislature for introducing legislation to reform ethics, specifically affecting the legislature. I'm the sponsor of a bill that would put in place a prohibition on members of the legislature becoming lobbyists. 37 other states already have that in place. The federal government has it in place. Every editorial board in the state is supportive of a revolving door ban. My bill over the last 3 years has been killed in subcommittee every single time. I think Representative Drury can talk about that. His has also. We also have a series of 5 or 6 other bills that would affect the legislature in terms of disclosure, in terms of shedding more light on the relationship between lobbyists and members of the legislature. So we applaud the governor and his actions today. Will continue to work in a bipartisan manner. And I should let you know my legislation, sponsored by Senator Heather Staines in the Senate, a Democrat, and this is a bipartisan issue. We look forward to working with the governor in a bicameral way to improve ethics and transparency in the state.
And I want to thank and commend the governor on implementing this very important executive order. I'm Scott Drury, a state representative from the District of Highwood up north. It's important for people in Illinois to understand that members of the General Assembly know that ethics knows no party. Ethics doesn't know socioeconomic classes. Ethics doesn't know race. The people in the state of Illinois want ethics reform. You could ask anybody. I go to town hall meetings all over the state, and whatever the issue is that the people are divided on, they always agree that Illinois needs to have more credibility and strong ethics reform. The executive order the governor is about to sign today is a great and strong first step, and I look forward to working with him and with the senator in implementing similar reforms and stronger reforms through the General Assembly so that they can have the force of law. We intend to file a bunch of that legislation tomorrow that will include a gift ban act for the General Assembly, will include the revolving door legislation, and will also include a lot of the reforms that my former colleagues suggested years ago when the Reform Commission was down here in terms of giving us a grand jury for public corruption and making our mail fraud laws a lot stronger. As the senator said, we grew up in the U.S. Attorney's offices. I was in Chicago, he was out in Nevada. But we understand the importance of ethics, and we understand that without credibility, it's really hard to build a house. You don't have the strong foundation. And I think by this being one of the first actions of the governor, he understands that, and I appreciate him including me as a Democrat in the process and look forward to working with him in a bipartisan manner for the next 2, 4, 8 years.
Thank you, Representative Drury. Thank you, Senator Hood. I think I was told to move this to the side. Is that right? So we can get a shot at it. Does it work? There it goes. Just one there. Thank you. Thank you for your support of these efforts. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, and then we'll open it up to questions.
You said yesterday, two-part question. You said yesterday that the people of Illinois were going to have to sacrifice, and you signed executive orders calling for everything from no traveling, the ban on traveling, to lowering thermostats. Can you tell me specifically how the average citizen might have to sacrifice because of this? And are these other executive orders more symbolic than substantive when it comes to saving real dollars?
You know what? Every dollar matters. We'll be working on behalf of the taxpayers every day to save every dollar we can possibly save. So the money, every dollar we save can be a dollar we put into our social services safety net. Every dollar we save can be a dollar we put inside our classrooms with our teachers and our students, rather than into bureaucracy. Every dollar we save is a dollar that can stay in a small business owner's company to help create jobs. Every dollar we save can be a dollar that doesn't have to be taken away from homeowners who are struggling with property taxes that are among the highest in the United States. And every dollar we save can stay in the pocket of our hardworking families that are struggling to make ends meet. Some savings will be large, some will be smaller, but they all add up, and we are going to be outlining the detail of our savings. These are the first steps, but the next 60 days we'll be outlining many details.
Governor, will you abide by Governor Quinn's executive order that would require you to fully disclose your tax, your income tax?
Well, you know, the critical issue is that we've gone well beyond the requirements under the law. The point we're going to make is we want everyone to honor the law and expand accountability. We'll be coming out with further comments on executive orders, expanding what we do, and we'll be discussing that further in the coming weeks.
Is it about accountability on you?
What you're trying to undo some of his nominations at the last minute. What's going to happen with some of those?
Well, what we're going to do, because it's been clear that there has been some inappropriate decisions, whether it's with appointments or with reclassifying employees. What we're going to do is across the board cancel all appointments. We are going to cancel all hires, cancel all, rescind all the actions that the governor's taken since November 1st. For some appointments, we may decide to reappoint. For some actions, we may decide to reinstitute, but we want to rescind everything we possibly can and take a fresh, hard look where we can take time.
Well, Governor, how do you reconcile asking state employees to disclose more of their own financial interests when you yourself will not disclose your tax schedules?
In fact, I will be doing exactly what I'm going to be asking all of those folks to disclose. I will be disclosing more of in my own financial disclosures as well.
Than you have in taxes.
Are all 49,000 or 50,000 state employees under this revolving door ban? I mean, secretaries and drivers and anybody, even if it's not related to their line of work, isn't that kind of very restrictive for people who seek other careers?
Well, this should apply to everyone who's inside our administration.
No matter how low level their job and no matter if they had anything to do with that policy?
Right. This should apply to everybody.
Governor, the part of this that says you'll have employment contracts reviewed and approved by the Office of Management and Budget. How is that different? Because it seems on its surface that that's similar to what got Governor Thompson in trouble in the first few years of his administration with the hiring freeze. How is it different from that?
Well, I'd have to look, candidly, to look and see what happened under Governor Thompson. I know that it's important to have some other agency other than just the governor deal with this issue. And I think this is a good first step. Frankly, we'll look and see what's happened and what other states have done. We'll go beyond if we need to.
Governor, can you talk a little bit about medical marijuana?
I mean, where are we now? Both the patient community, the medical community, business is up in arms. Are they going to have to start from scratch with you, or, you know, can you give us a little sense of where you stand on it?
Well, my understanding is that Governor Quinn decided to not go ahead and approve some of the pending licenses that have been applied for. What we now need to do is get immersed in the process and learn exactly the status. How's it been managed? How's it been run? And look at whether we need to change anything that's occurred. I have a concern. I expressed my concern during the campaign that it looked like some folks had left the administration. They were playing lobbying roles. They were working with some of their friends to get some of these contracts. I'm concerned about the process. I don't think it's been run well, and we'll have to assess the situation once we get inside.
Is there
and
any
really
way
learn the
to
facts.
expedite for some of those who are really in need, the epileptic kids and so forth? Is there a way to expedite at least part of that?
I don't know. Obviously, we want to manage this in a proper way. We want things done right. And we'll do everything we can to get in, understand the detail, and make decisions that represent everybody involved the right way.
So will you commit to a general support for medical marijuana? Do you think that it's a good idea to have that in place, whatever the details eventually become?
Well, the law has been passed.
But
I mean, it's the
a pilot
law.
program, so it's a narrow scope. It would be up to you to get it running and then probably look at a reauthorization of it.
So what we'll do is come inside and understand the situation as it has occurred. I want to enforce the laws of the state, and that particular law is on the books. I want to make sure that it's managed and run properly. Beyond that, we'd have to just assess the situation.
How's the mansion?
Do you have a final number for how many people lost their jobs during the transition?
Excuse me, we got somebody asking, sorry.
Do you have a final number for how many people got the pink slip during the transition between Quinn and your administration?
I don't. You'd have to ask one of our team members, Mike Shrimp, or somebody. I think could probably give you that exact number.
Can you give us a sense on the mansion? Is it livable?
It's livable. That's that's a subjective term. To me, I think it's perfectly fine. As I told Diana the other night, it's better than my fraternity house in college. Diana is very concerned. It's really tragic what's happened. That's the people's house. The floors are buckled. You can't even come in the front, the real entrance. Furniture's been damaged. There's plaster fall out of the ceiling. And the elevator doesn't work. We should be able to have folks who are disabled and not able to use the stairs to be able to come to the second floor. It's a travesty, and we're going to fix it. I wish we could snap our fingers and have it done. There's a lot of politics involved. There's a foundation. There's government regulations. I've told everybody I'm happy to chip in, and I think I could ask folks, again, who aren't conflicted, they don't do business with the state, but ask folks who care about the quality, the heritage. This belongs to the people of the state, and it should be taken care of. And so we're going to get it done right. It might take a few months. I'm going to live there. Diana will live there. The kids are, they're off in their lives. We're empty nesters now. So we talked about when they are back in town with us, which rooms will be theirs and whatnot. That was an interesting discussion.
Is tonight going to be your first night there, Governor? Is tonight going to be your first night?
It is.
Where did you stay last night, or can you say?
Where did we stay last night? Yeah, we've been staying at a hotel in town for the last 3 nights. So tonight will be our first night.
You don't want to say which one, do you?
No, I guess not. I don't know.
Governor, your appointments that you rescinded include like 3 members of the gaming board, which is not enough for them to actually have a quorum. What do you anticipate you'll be doing? Do you anticipate you'll keep the ones you have removed, or boot them totally, or replace them? What's your game plan?
Well, so we want to just undo what Governor Quinn's done here in the last few months, because we have too much evidence that he was not making decisions that were good for the people for the long term. And then but we will very promptly and expeditiously be assessing folks and reappointing those that make sense. Some of the folks who were identified could make good sense, but many might not. We just want to assess the situation, make the right decision for the long term. Yes.
Let me go back to the mansion for a second. I believe there's about $5 million to repair the mansion that was put into the capital bill. Are you opposed to using the capital money that was already appropriated to fix the mansion?
Well, I'll say a couple things. That's a good question. I'll say a couple things about it. We're in a financial crisis. Every dollar matters, and I want to make sure our social services are protected. I want to make sure our education's protected. Those are the critical priorities. And I think there's a possibility of not having to have the taxpayers come out of pocket and to have folks who just believe in giving back and who are generous philanthropists who could help. It might make sense that it's better for the taxpayers to take advantage of that. Now, I'll say something else. This is a very important point. There's a mindset that we have in government that, well, it's part of the capital bill, or it's part of the authorized appropriation, or it's already been authorized, or it's gonna, we can do it, we can bond it, and we can borrow it. A dollar is a dollar, and just the fact that it's already appropriated, but we haven't spent it. I don't care what's appropriated. Where's the dollar coming from? If it's, if we haven't spent it, that means it's in the taxpayer's pocket. We should protect the taxpayers. And the fact that we can borrow it under a capital program, there's a mindset, gosh, that's just, it's almost like it's free money, or it's easy, or we don't have to worry about it because we only pay, 4% on it, so let's use it. No. Borrowing money is expensive, and that's still taxpayers' dollars with an interest rate. We've got to change our mindset and protect the taxpayers first.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, everybody.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.